The Persona franchise is often praised for its slice of life and human elements that blend seamlessly into fantastical adventures with otherworldly threats. However, something that is seldom mentioned is how much horror litters this franchise. I feel that more often than not, it's often forgotten that at the end of the day, each game is about a group of youths that are thrust into the conflicts of lurking gods that would use them as instruments to further their personal gain, children that build pacts with these demonic forces just to stand a chance at surviving, a world that seemingly on a subconscious level seeks to purge itself. Today join me as I discuss some of the most terrifying set pieces found throughout the series.
Pandora's welcome.
How about we start from the beginning? The final dungeon in the first Persona game has you trek through a video world. A video world is a hellscape that festers beneath the school that served you as a safe haven for a majority of the game. The deeper you travel through its labyrinthian halls, you begin to realize just how abstract the imagery is. These walls could be made of flesh, webs, bones. It's hard to say, but as you push on through the oppressive atmosphere, things start to become claustrophobic. You find yourself winding around an enormous maze. It's the final stretch, and behind this red door, you're greeted by this. A perversion of Maki, the secondary protagonist of the adventure. She's revealed to you this mass of flesh that resembles a body, surrounded by contorted limbs with a neck that ends with lips, and what appears to be a child's buttocks. To top everything off, the most unsettling facet is Maki's face, perfectly undisturbed amidst the abomination she's attached to. This deep into the adventure, you already know that everything is the result of Maki's split psyche. It can only cause one to wonder why her shadow, that being Pandora, would adopt this form. It leaves me personally to wonder what kind of potential subdued trauma she may have suffered that we just never saw. The thoughts that must be plaguing her mind to cause this to be the outcome will likely forever remain a mystery. All of these things only add to my unease whenever I have to bear witness to this part of Maki's consciousness.
Teddie, who are you?
What can we definitively say we know about Teddie? He's a shadow. We can also say that he can manifest a human body. It would also seem he's capable of bringing people back to life. And Teddie, this shadow, somehow also has a shadow?
What is that I see in your eyes? Inescapable fear?
No matter what I learn about him, and no matter how many times I replay through Persona 4, I feel that I never get any closer to understanding what Teddie truly is. And with the small sample size of things we do know about him, it's clear that he's way more than just a stray shadow. Teddie holds this intense agency to ally with you and your party. When you get to the point in the story where you have to confront Shadow Teddie as you have all your other party members, you're greeted by this. A withered and hollowed out husk of a beast with an eerie, piercing, multicolored eyes that seem to emulate the lens of a camera, watching. With the knowledge that shadow selves are very much a part of the real person, it only adds another layer of unease and mystery to Teddie. In more immediate interaction with him, we see him behave cheerfully, excitable, and silly to the point where he's comic relief. But his shadow, it just flips everything. He's articulate, jaded, and disillusioned, and almost as nihilistic as the game's main villain. I've always just came to the conclusion he may just be some sort of lingering eldritch being. The most logical conclusion is that he may somehow be a Sagiri. Of what origin, I can't say. I just feel like that bizarre eye design is not a coincidence, especially with how much overlap there tends to be with it. The strangest thing is that even after powering through his pretty tough battle, I could never quite shake the feeling that Teddie in particular feels the most like he's putting on an act. Every other investigation team member's shadow will act out in extreme, scaling to their counterparts' desires. However, they never completely alter their intelligence, and of every shadow, I'd say this one feels the most different to the point that I'd say it's easily the most bizarre encounter in the game. I can never in good faith say that Teddie is just a shadow because everything about him is too different, and I always find myself back thinking, Teddie, who are you?
Permanent scars.
Trauma can and will lead people to irrational trains of thought, thoughts that can push blame and guilt onto the wrong person, even if that person is yourself. But what if all that self resentment, all that guilt, and all the blame bottles up with nowhere to go? What if all of these things had a face? This encounter is truly frightening. Similar to Shadow Teddie, the likeness of Shadow Eri is almost one-to-one with her normal human counterpart, except here we see a smile that looks like it was carved in by a knife. Her right eye remains covered, and it remains consistent with the fact that the real-world Eri, while her injuries are permanent, they're really a part of her. These injuries are also reflected in her rebel design. Here, her leg is seemingly some sort of prosthetic, and her eye is once again covered by her hair. In the real world, this is where her bandage would be. All of this stuff comes together, and it's both scary and immensely tragic. It's the psychological manifestation of a victim of a truly vicious assault. One that is forever etched into both of our minds, us and Toshiro. Persona 5 Tactica, at the end of the day, is a spin off known for its very cutesy and anime style. But, honestly, this has to be the most gruesome portrayal of an assault victim I've seen in any Atlas game. But then again, many would say that horror is most effective when you least expect it.
Scrap metal.
I'm sure that many people have thought to themselves that being trapped inside of a school would be a pretty scary scenario. Now imagine your friends are with you. Less scary, right? Okay, but imagine now that they're all being hostile towards you and trying to weaponize your insecurities against you while also attempting to instigate a fight. These things are all present in Persona 4 Arena, but they are far from the scariest thing that could be found inside of this game. Within the main scenario, to me the scariest piece of storytelling lies solely in one location: the Dead Factory. I can't mince words. I find this stage truly disturbing. Before the announcement room even warps into this monstrosity, it's already unnerving enough seeing that it appears you're being watched. There's a control center with cameras monitoring everyone. That alone gives the space an invasive quality. After Labrys falls victim to denying her shadow, we get taken directly to where the root of her torment takes place. The Dead Factory is a grisly reminder of fratricide, violence, and psychological torture, and especially manipulation. You see, Labrys stepping out of line with her programming developed a heart. However, in her finding a heart, her creators were unswayed. What the team needed was the perfect anti-shadow weapon. Labrys was looking like the progress that they needed into furthering this goal. The Corrijo Foundation needed this battle data. So, they used mind control on her sister and hatched a scheme to force Labrys into murdering her. She had already killed many of her sisters, but the difference here was this one she developed with. This unit, this sister, was here when she had developed feelings of being more than just a robot. This cold, empty room, draped in deep reds, accompanied by countless humanoid animatronic legs and torsos. Knowing how robots are in the series, you just know that they're human, and seeing it feels all wrong. In my opinion, this is the most first-hand exposure we get into the more underworld side of the Corrijo group and their more twisted methods. Their unethical practices really makes me have to remember sometimes that humans can be more heartless and ruthless than any monster, even the monsters that may wish to harm us. Time is one of the most understated elements of when you think of things that are scary. But even something as simple as adding a timer visual can shake us to our core. When December arrives in Persona 3, everything in the atmosphere changes. The calendar up to this point has counted down towards confrontations with countless moon shadows. But this is completely different. What you know is waiting for you at the end of this month is death. Death itself. Nyx has a truly haunting design. For starters, her pale face contrasts with her pitch black palette. She descends elegantly despite her enormous size, making her presence even more imposing. Even more unsettling, upon further inspection, you'll begin to notice something. Look deeper into her face. You'll notice that it's still very much your friend Ryoji, and in a literal sense, the true Ryoji. Nyx is a force of nature, and this reflects even in her battle dialogue. There's no sense of malice, no rage or spite, just a creature forged by humanity's wish to end the cycle of life, and permanently be whisked away into oblivion. An oblivion devoid of life's complications, an oblivion devoid of suffering. All of these things alone are horrifying, but I feel the extent of Nyx's terror remains with this imagery. This final bit of imagery. Though Nyx has been delayed by the seal, it has come at the cost of his sacrifice. This is the image of what at the end of the day is a kid. A kid that chose to siphon off his life to preserve the lives of his friends. His expression is difficult to pinpoint at times. Is it a satisfied smile? Sometimes it seems like that to me, but other times I can't help but shake that he looks almost tormented. The true terror in all of this is that this seal doesn't mean that Nyx is staved off forever, and she sure isn't dead. You see, we all know that Nyx can't die, and that also means she has an infinite amount of time before something can disturb the seal or possibly destroy it, in which case it would be safe to assume that her march would just continue on. The march to the destruction of man would only resume. After all, with eternity being the pool of time she has to work with, this mortal seal would only seem like a. I guess it would only seem like a detour towards